Okay, so welcome back to our channel. Today we are talking about Bagnall Haus. Is that how I...
Bagnall Haus.
Bagnall Haus.
Yes.
Sorry for my pronunciation. Usually, the more difficult it is to pronounce, it means the project a bit more atas. Okay, so for today's episode, I think I will leave it to you, Taufik, because this area totally I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
I just know that it's right beside Sungai Bedok MRT station, which is the last station for Thomson East Coast, right?
Yep.
So maybe tell me more about the location first. Like,
Okay.
where's this place?
So this is located at Upper East Coast. You will know it's at the landed area, which is around Q Estate, the Eastwood Estate, and the Limau Garden.
Right.
So those people who are living there will be very familiar with this, and especially so if your kids are going to school there nearby, which is Temasek Secondary School, as well as Temasek Primary School, right? And this is actually an en bloc of the previous project, which is Bagnall Court.
Oh,
All right, so it's a freehold status, and there's a total of 113 units and 2 shops.
okay. It's just right next to the MRT station, right?
Yes, literally. So if you walk out of your condo, right, you just walk to the left, like maybe like few steps, maybe you will already reach the entrance to the MRT station. Yeah, but of course that is still under construction.
Right.
Yeah, so that is a future.
Should be opening soon already, I think.
Should
be opening soon.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm looking at the map. I think it's not 100% sheltered, but I think it's just that few steps. So probably you still need umbrella for 7 steps, 8 steps before you reach exit B of Sungai Bedok MRT when I see the map.
Yes.
The Bedok food court over there, is it still there?
Yes, it is.
It is, right?
So this will be, it's like a circular food court. So for those of you who have been there before, you would know. And there are quite a variety of food there. And a lot of, mostly the people who stay there will eat over here. And there's also a car park which is just beside. So it's very easy for people to drive over.
Right.
Right.
What about like supermarket or shops like dentist, bakery, that kind of thing? Because
Okay.
I'm totally not familiar in this area.
Yeah, so just nearby, just across the road on the other side, right, you will see there's this Eastwood Center. So
Okay.
that's where you can get your supermarket, which is your cold storage, and there's also like dentist. I think there's hair salon and a clinic there. Right, so if that is not enough and you prefer somewhere which is not too far but still nearby, you can just drive up, just down the road all the way to Simpang Bedok. That is where you know there's a Spice at Bedok. There's a huge giant there. Right, that place is called the Bedok Shopping Complex. Yeah. So for those of you who might not be familiar with that area, this is the supper spot, which a lot of people go to Spice area. The Tang Tea House, I think, is still there. And Jalan Cempaka Putih, Jalan Cempaka Kuning, which you would know are those landed houses which are left with very little lease left.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's where it came out in the newspaper that they are worried about what happens to it when the lease is run out.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, but that one, another topic for another day.
Yes.
Okay, so coming back to the location itself, what about like any schools nearby for those people who have kids and all that?
Yeah. So if you go down the road, right, just a bit all the way down, then you will see that there's the Temasek Secondary School,
Right.
as well as the Temasek Primary School. So in this area, aside from the school, there's also the Siglap Community Club, which just recently opened. I think that's about possibly about a couple years ago, right, 2 or 3 years ago. So that's where you have your community club. There's a McDonald's there. There's a Sheng Siong supermarket. There's a gym up there as well.
Right.
Yeah, so amenities-wise, you are still quite equipped in this area. It's not like totally nothing there.
Okay. So further down, I'm looking based on the MRT map. So Thomson East Coast Line, Sungai Bedok is the last station. Then one more station down will be the Bedok South, where there is the Temasek Primary as well as the Temasek Secondary, as well as you mentioned the newly opened Siglap Community Centre, right?
Yes.
So I think this area is like a mini town centre itself already, with all the new openings of the shops and everything, right?
Yep.
And one more station down will be Bayshore, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think government is putting a lot of new attention over there with the, I think, a very expensive BTO, HDB over there. And I think they are thinking about putting some schools there and more condos coming up. I read from the newspaper, I think it's about 10,000 housing units will be built up there. Maybe about 7,000 will be HDB, 3,000 will be condo. So assuming like 500 units per condo, so we're talking about 6 condos over there, right? Then assuming maybe 700 700 HDBs per project. So we are talking about 10 more projects coming up. But of course, government will launch this in phases lah. So this will also likely further boost up the nearby amenities as well, right? I suppose.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And what about like people who are working? Like what's like any job catchment area around here?
Okay. So for this whole area, you would want to link it to the airport transformation. There will be the Terminal 5, which is coming up, right? So that one will bring in a lot of jobs as well. So people mostly from the airline industry or working at the airport,
Right.
These are some of the future possibly buyers or even the tenants who might want to stay there for ease of access to their traveling and workplace, right?
So talking about that, we also have the Changi Business Park, I suppose, right?
Yes.
So Changi Business Park will also create some kind of a tenant base that's coming over here as well.
Yes.
It's very, very rare to find freehold projects right next to MRT station. So I think Bagnall Haus, right? Bagnall Haus will be performing well because, as I mentioned, if you want to look at the whole Singapore map, brand new freehold, I think it's pretty rare.
Pretty rare.
Yeah.
And it's not just an MRT station, it's an MRT interchange.
Oh yeah.
So you have downtown line as well as Thomson East Coast line.
Right.
So it creates even more convenience for people who are staying there.
And people who are frequent travelers, I notice is like they just need to take how many MRT stops?
I think 2 stops,
Right.
possibly 2 stops, change this in
Expo, I think, right?
Expo.
That means you take the downtown Sungai Bedok to Sing Ling. Sing Ling is where the Changi Business Park is.
Yeah.
Then one more to Expo. Then from Expo you change the green line. I think I mean based on the current map now, I think this is how you should go. Then from Expo 1 station to Changi Airport. So literally when you come home, depending on whether the MRT is still operational, you can really take MRT home. I think within 30 minutes.
Possibly very
Yeah, within 30 minutes possible, right?
Maybe even faster than that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you drive, it's less than 15 minutes. You can already reach there.
To
airport.
Changi Airport, right?
Yeah, very fast.
So for those people, I mean, Changi Airport not just as an airport, right? We know that it's becoming like a mini shopping town. I don't call it shopping center, shopping town. Sometimes during weekends, my wife nothing to do with the kids, she'll just go all the way to Changi, look at the waterfall and whatnot. So I think people who wants not just going to the neighborhood malls like Bedok Central, that kind of places, they can even just hop onto the train and go straight to Changi Airport, right?
Yes.
What kind of people are actually staying over here? Because the way I see it is all landed properties around here, right?
Yeah.
So we are talking about more of like a private enclave over here, right?
Yes. Okay, so basically the whole area, there's a lot of landed houses. There are some condominiums around as well. And if you're talking about BTOs, if you go down a bit to where we were at the Siglap Community Center, there's a
Right.
new cluster of BTOs there.
Right.
So that's about, I think by now it's almost 3 years old. So they'll probably MOP in a couple of years. Yeah, and those BTOs have very nice views of the landed area as well as towards the Bayshore area.
Wow.
Yeah, so
$1 million
I'm not
flats.
what kind of
Like
prices?
high
they're
chance,
gonna
high
command.
chance. Because just right next to Bedok South MRT, I think these are the next batch of $1 million HDBs as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. So maybe let's talk more into the project itself lah.
Right.
This project 113 units, so it's a short rise one, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
How many?
Five stories.
5-story high.
Yeah. So level 1, some of the stacks have units. The rest I think don't have. The rest of it
Okay.
is level 2 to level 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then what about the facilities? Because some of our viewers, they are quite doubtful about buying small project because they
projects.
always complain, hey, maybe the facility is not as fantastic and whatnot. So over here, by the look of it, I know confirm there's no tennis court, right?
Cannot.
The land size doesn't allow for
space.
it, right? But of course, you want to buy freehold, sometimes this kind of a compromise you have to make lah. But what about basic things like, gym, swimming pool?
So Facilities wise, they have a pool, a 25-meter lap pool, 25 by 6 meters, I believe. So
Right.
that one is a separate location from the rest of the facilities. Okay, then the other facilities, they are on the rooftop. Yeah, so what you have there is like the suntan lounges. There's a place to do like yoga.
So there is clubhouse, right, on
Yes,
the
yes.
top floor?
Yes, there's
Right.
a clubhouse.
Quite interesting. So saying that means except the swimming pool on the ground floor or
It's a separate
second
building.
floor.
Yes.
So it's like everybody have the access. So it's a bit like a L shape or U shape.
For the swimming pool?
No, from the whole development. So the Bagnall House is like a U shape or like a L shape.
Yeah, something like somewhat like a U shape, if you look at it that way.
Okay.
And then there's like a T bridge linking towards the swimming pool area.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have your clubhouse, gym, and all the lounge yoga area on the top. Quite interesting design.
Yeah, they want to bring more of the noise or more human traffic upwards so that people can have their privacy in their units.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the small boutique developments, I call these boutique developments, this kind of profiles of owners, they prefer their privacy and quietness. So it's actually quite interesting that the developer actually push up most of the facilities on the top floor.
Yep.
So at least you are hosting your friends for birthday parties or whatnot. Everything is on the rooftop. Likely it's a small project, so it should be pretty much TOP pretty soon. The plus point is that for people who are really looking at, freehold next to MRT, brand new, I think this could be the only option in recent years. Because we have to understand that en bloc is very, very difficult nowadays. And we are talking about residential en bloc especially. The replacement cost from the ex-owners, the ABSD calculation for the developers, all these are very sensitive. So, in fact, moving forward, I doubt you will have a lot of freehold developments coming up because we know that government land sales is all 99-year lease. So freehold, we definitely have to get it from the en bloc market.
Yeah.
And freehold next to MRT, that's something worth considering.
Not many. But
Yeah.
of course, if you're talking about the parking lots,
Right.
it'll be lesser. There's 91 parking lots. But I believe usually most of the time, even if you look at condos,
Right.
I don't know if there's any condos which have their
So for
parking lot.
this, there's a one bedroom, right?
Yes, there's
One bedroom, two bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay lah. Then in that case, I think for those people who are buying one bedroom, two bedroom, probably investors are looking in. Then investors, they rent it out. Tenants, if it's just right to the next MRT station, I don't see there is much issue, because most times it will be only the families that are driving anyway. Then what about the price point? What do you think? Because I noticed that nearby there isn't much comparison, so I will just use two, which is Fairmount Condominium, which is on the other side of the Bedok food court. That one is a 99-year lease, and I noticed it's built in 2000. So of course, older project, 99-year lease, is not really an apple-to-apple comparison. But I noticed that their 3-bedroom was like, how much? 1.45, 1.5 mil in terms of the exact price tag. Then the other one will be the Country Park Condominium, which is freehold. That one is 203. But I noticed that the layout is bigger. So we are talking about their 3-bedroom is about 2.3 mil, 2.4 mil thereabout. What do you think?
I think that's for Bagnall Haus, the pricing might be somewhat similar to that in terms of, let's say, like 3-bedroom.
Okay.
Because the PSF will be slightly lower, although the size won't be as big as the older development, that's for sure. Right, but the pricing wise, if they are looking at something that's near to MRT, then Bagnall Haus is something that they can consider.
So we are talking about, because I saw the layout as well, right? For Country Park condo, right? Their floor plan, maybe we can superimpose lah. The floor plan is like the super longish type one, so it's a bit more like a rectangular kind of a layout instead of people prefer traditionally more squarish. But of course, when I come back to Bagnall Haus to see again, right, I noticed that it's also not the very conventional kind of layout.
Yeah.
It has its own pros and cons, I believe, but I think developer has done a pretty good job in terms of designing and creating floor plans for this overall project as well. Maybe you can share more in terms of how does the floor plan works?
Okay, so the floor plans, they have some very unique designs. Right, there's one at the Showflat which you have to be there to understand what it feels like. Right, so let's say like if it's a 3-bedder,
Right.
Right, you go in conventionally, usually you will see like a living room and then the bedrooms are on the side.
Right.
Right, it's just one walkway. But this one is somewhat like you have to walk in and then you turn in. So it feels bigger than normal. Like, but then again, it's all functional spaces. You don't really see much of wasted spaces.
Right.
Yeah, the layout is slightly unique, but it's still livable. It's not like those very weird and unusable spaces. This one is more thoughtfully planned out.
So, Taufik, what are the Showflat showcasing over there?
There's a 2-bedroom unit and
Okay.
there's a 4-bedroom unit.
Okay.
So the 4-bedroom unit is the one that I mentioned where you kind of have this walk and turning in. So it really feels like there's a lot to the house. Usually you know there's only like one walkway, but then this one is like, hey, walk in, and you have to turn again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it's
I think you really have to go there and see to
You gotta go
appreciate
down.
the space. So I think as we mentioned, this particular project. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention who is the developer again.
the developer is Roxy.
Roxy. So they are famous. I think Roxy is famous for projects like 5 Derbyshire, some of the boutique luxurious project. I think they are quite well known to do boutique luxurious premium products. So I think for this project that they're coming in, I'm sure they will do a pretty good job as well, because I'm just looking at some of the visuals. I think it has a very nice feel to it. Who do you think will be likely the buyers buying this piece of project?
Some of the buyers might be those, definitely one of it, pool of the buyers might be from the ex-owners, right? If they love the area, they still want to go back to that location, they
Right.
might buy back,
Okay.
right? Considering that the amenities at that point in time of completion will be even more.
Modern, right? Yeah. Modern and more comprehensive, right?
Yes. And they have the MRT just beside, they have familiar food places, which is also just beside. So this development is somewhat, if you want to put it like, you have the features of an integrated development,
Right.
right? You have the MRT just beside, you have your food also there, and then anything you want to shop or whatever, it's just nearby, like cold storage is there.
I suppose possibly there could be also like the nearby landed downgraders, right? They will feel that the house is too big. Then if they want to stay back in the same area, they can only compare. Seriously, I think there's only that 3 projects that worth considering. Actually, 4, a few more lah, but I would just use nearer towards the Sungai Bedok one. Fairmount Condominium, Country Park Condominium, and Bagnall Haus. There's one more further up the road is the Eastwood Green. Maybe those people who don't mind a longer walk, then they would consider that one. Further on the right hand side, actually there's 3 more as well. Eastwood Regency, Laguna 88, and Eastwood Lodge. Right. But I'm comparing to this side one. So if let's say the landed downgraders of this area, roughly how much is say a semi-D around this area?
Semi-D, I have to
4
update
mil?
my numbers now, but as of the last I checked was about 5, 4,
Oh,
you
5
can still
really?
get around there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I have to
assuming
check again.
it is a fully paid semi-D, for example, maybe we have this thing called the empty nest syndrome, right? All the children grow up, they have their own home. So some of the so-called elder couples, right, they want to downsize, but to still a decent 3-bedroom. So you're talking about 5 mil after they sell, they fully paid. Let's say this price is say about 2.4, 2.5, right? Then they will still have a spare of about 2.5 for their retirement.
Yeah.
Thereabout, I believe.
The amount.
In terms of comparison, like price point, Country Park versus this one, what do you think? Do you think owners will go for this one or Bagnall House?
I would think if they want something new, Bagnall Haus. That
More
would
modern,
be-
right?
Yeah, more modern. And convenience,
Right.
like really convenient. We'll go for that. And yeah, plus there's also 2 shops I think we mentioned. So I'm not sure what the shops will be like. But the shops will be accessible to public. It'll
Right.
be just in front of the guardhouse. Right. So in that sense, it's a safe.
Maybe one 7-Eleven or something.
Maybe.
24 hour, let them go and buy some of the potato chips or whatnot. Right. Then what about 1 and 2 bedroom? What are the possible buyers going for the 1 and 2 bedrooms over here?
Mostly, I believe if you are an investor, you might want to consider this.
Okay.
Because the tenant pool will definitely be there, especially for those tenants who want the privacy and a more peaceful area. Of course, if you go further up, there will be more projects, maybe like towards Tanah Merah area, there will be like the Glades,
Right.
the Urban Vista, and I forgot the other name. Grandeur Park.
Manual Park, yes.
Yeah, but if you want a more peaceful place, more serene, then this will be more relaxed, lower density.
This is more like the landed private enclave area, right?
Yeah, so there's not much high rise here as well. Yeah, so for that, you can also realize that if you are on the higher floors, there you probably have a nice skyline view. Yeah, you won't have anything jutting out in the near vicinity.
So actually depend on where you face. So on the maybe north or east and west facing, you will have the nice landed view if you are
Yeah.
going on for the high floor. Then if you are the south facing, you will catch the golf course view, Laguna National Golf and Country Club, as well as East Coast Park. So I suppose that will have a very good sea view as well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, and people who like to be at East Coast Park, if you want to go there for a run, or you like living, just having access to the beach, just a quick jog down. So this will be a great place to live or rent.
So Taufik, this one, when does it preview?
Highly likely it should be in late
January.
December or January, but I think it should be in January.
Okay.
The launch. Otherwise, it'll be in like holiday period, right?
High chance, I think January.
be
Developer will be pushing this to January. So if you're interested in this, always feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to share with you what to look out for. Of course, during the video, we are just touching very broad base in terms of the location as well as the project and what we think about the most likely ideal buyers coming for this project. If you need help in terms of like analyzing the projects, analyzing the floor plan, you can always reach out to us for a more in-depth discussion. And of course, as mentioned, we always want to share with people that every project will have its own pros and cons, and this particular one may not be the most ideal for you and your family needs. So do reach out to us if you want to have a one-on-one discussion about what's your planning. We will need to sit down with you to discuss further, and don't forget, the link will always be dropped in the description below. You can always reach out to us, and with that,
We'll see you in the next video.
always remember to like, share and subscribe as well, and we will see you in the next video. Bye bye.